Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the GoldBricks Show. And this week we have more content for you, a great show, and we hope that you will find benefited. And we're going to ask everyone at this point, the number is 301-429-9247. Go ahead and get ready to dial in. We will be taking calls today live again. And I'm going to let my co-host, Dr. Rozelle, take it from here.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed. It's a pleasure to be here again, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Gold Bricks Show. We're so happy that you tuned in with us. We're going to ask everybody at this time to go ahead and like and share this information on your page, and that's, of course, the Gold Bricks Show, but it's going to be a WBGR News and Politics, and you can actually just share it from this stream here that we're doing. So we're excited today that we have a gentleman, a businessman here in the D.C. area, but also has business around the world that's going to be joining us today. A very prolific speaker, a person that I've gotten to know over the years, who's a very successful person, but has a very big heart at getting information to the masses, to the public, to the to the people. And I've grown to have a lot of respect for this gentleman, and I'm so happy that he decided to be on the show with us today. He's going to share a lot of power-packed content for you. And so without further ado, on behalf of the Gold Brick Show and Mr. Ahmed and myself, Dr. Sergio Rozelle, I want to welcome you, Mr. Demi Sanya. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum. What an honor to be on this powerful panel right here. I'm so excited when I got the call, about a day ago, and Dr. Sergio said, Demi, are you open to coming on the show? I was like, what kind of crazy question is that? It's a blessing to be amongst two gentlemen that I listen to on a regular basis. And it's so important that we put ourselves in the presence and midst of those of like minds, but those that you can learn and grow from. So, Dr. Rozelle, Brother Yasim, I'm so honored to be here with you both, brother. I thank you for the opportunity to be on this panel. And it's a great time to be around like minds.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a sad time to be around those who are who have their head in the sand and who are not conscious about great things that are taking place.
That's right.
Because we're about preparation for a sunny day, not a rainy day.
That's right. That's right.
So this is a great time to be alive in 2018, despite all the mess that's going on, that we can prosper, but also we can share with others to give them the chance to prosper too, because we make our own decisions.
That's right.
So just a little bit about myself, born and raised here in Washington, D.C., coming from a traditional environment, from my mother raised single parent, my father from the country of Africa, Lagos, Nigeria. My last name originates from Sanya. It's the tribe of Yoruba. So, moms did her best to raise me, and I'm grateful for her, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today. So it's my duty to do what she's done for me, which was take care of her. Yes, so it's been a great journey just coming up in the city of Washington, D.C. Wasn't perfect, and I don't think anyone was coming up, so I'm really lucky to be here. Nothing crazy going on in life, but once again, you are the 5 people you associate with. So I used to run with some people when I was young, but I made it through it. Made some decisions when I was young, and fast forward and had a bad accident. Right before my son was born, was paralyzed, couldn't walk. So I'm grateful for God that He put me back on my feet. Took a couple of years to learn how to walk again, but just to fast forward, government worker, college education, but got introduced to free enterprise. Free enterprise. Most enterprises, you're not free. You may think you're free, but you're not. But free enterprise was a mindset shock, where I had to learn to develop a different mindset, and with the mindset to become free. So fast forward and even more, I got introduced to some information that we're all on this panel, and with the global team that I've been able to connect with and build, opportunity that just has changed my mind, or I say all around. I mean, whoever thought that I'd be on a radio show invited by 2 giants to sit in between these guys and just had the opportunity to speak. I never thought about this. I had to face the fear, and that's what this enterprise, free enterprise, has taught me to face fears. That a closed mouth doesn't get fed, even though we need to close our mouths, because food is part of the part of the plan. But at the same time, a closed mouth doesn't get fed because we need to be taught how to network and communicate with people. And it's not about everybody, but it's about those who want to take advantage of their life and take advantage of the opportunities. So the young man that you see sitting here today is basically, it's just so much I could talk about, and it becomes touching that it's just a blessing to be right here, gentlemen. So as an entrepreneur in the digital world, but not just in the digital world, but dealing with one of the number one assets in the world that most people are completely blind about.
And that's
Absolutely.
what we're here to talk about. One of the things that I noticed you have seen you on a number of him, and I thank you for your kind comments about the doctor and myself. Certainly, we're among many that you are exposed to, that you are in contact with. You built a great team. At the same time, I've seen you at a number of different venues speak so clearly and so knowledgeably about the economic world, global situation, about the economies, about what a lot of people are doing wrong here and understanding and wasting opportunities, passing over opportunities, and how allowing wealth to slip through their hands or right through the cracks in their between their fingers, right?
Yes.
Rather than putting that wealth to use in order to build wealth for themselves and their families.
Absolutely.
And so one of the things that we like to do here, and I've said this time and time again to our viewers, is that we're about helping people to understand about wealth and health. Yes. And those two things, and I think our last show with the professional women of wealth was great in terms of connecting that, because we had Dr. Usual on here and we had an educator, Ms. Smith, right? And they went into this thing and showed how these things are connected.
Yes, sir.
And how important education is, and how important knowledge and health allowing you to reach out and take care of a lot of those things that you need to do.
Absolutely.
So what I'd like to have you do is just give us a little bit of your experience, of your knowledge on how people are missing out, and how those opportunities can be manifested in people's lives to create wealth.
Well, you mentioned opportunities, and we're missing them, and that word poor, passing over opportunities repeatedly. It's the mindset, but it's also the conditioning that the world is going through, because we've been conditioned to be dependent. And this dependency is a dependency of, once we go to school, and that programming begins at a young age. So it's a revolving door of missing opportunities, because the parents have been taught a certain way. So the parents teach the children to be taught a certain way. So we look forward to be part of a system that's failing, a system that's leveraging the mindset and the wealth of others. Well, we must understand that leverage is one of the key words, and if we don't have leverage in our life, we'll be levered by someone else. And this is the time right now. It's a great time, but it's also a devastating time if we don't wake up. The signs are all around us, but the programming that we've been through, and it's the education. People say they want to become wealthy, but they're not willing to put the mental work in. It's not a physical work to be wealthy. It's a mindset to become wealthy. So I don't want to go too deep, and I've heard you teach on this, and Dr. Rozelle has also, he shared a radio show that I had the honor of having him on, that I ran about a year ago, and we actually talked about the conditioning of how the wealthy, once we understand that the wealthy actually run the school systems, and they determine the information that's going to go inside the school system. So your mindset is controlled by them, but this programming starts. So you're going to pass over opportunities because we've been brainwashed by a system that has taught us to be dependent on a job and to chase cash instead of chasing freedom. You can't be free. Nothing wrong with education. Nothing wrong with a job. But it's kind of hard. It's like an obese person fighting to lose weight. And it's just like you're fighting that battle when we talked about health, but now you're fighting the battle to understand that I was bamboozled.
Sure.
The school system has bamboozled. Nothing wrong with education. We have great doctors, great lawyers, great teachers, but understand the system that knowledge and that mindset keeps you in, which is taxes, time for money, inflation. And these things, as just being a person that's part of the system, will keep you away from understanding opportunities. Keep your job, but have a side project that will allow you to benefit just like the wealthy benefit.
So what I'd like to do at this time is I appreciate what you're sharing, and there's a lot, right? And so we're gonna make sure we help some of the viewers that are new to the show to kind of go through that process of how you get to that point. Now, first of all, because there've been conditioning, we've been taught certain things, and not necessarily that it's wrong. It's just that there are two different tracks.
Yes, sir.
There's a track for just making a living, just getting by,
Right.
and then there's a track for abundance. There's a track for wealth. There's a track for enjoying the finer things in life and having the time freedom and the success, right?
Yes.
So what I'd like to do is, since we all were brought into the system and conditioned to think a certain way, if we could just backtrack just a little bit, just for a little while, to talk about how you came to the place of your mindset. I know you had a job before. We can talk about that a little bit, just a little bit, about what happened along the way. You told us your journey. You've overcome some tremendous adversities, and I know your story, and it's such a powerful story. But I think it would really benefit the viewers if you shared a little bit about your journey, how you got to this place, and then we can segue into some solutions to the problem, the plan.
Yes, sir. Well, that journey, once again, it really began when I saw some leaders, and this was with a company that I was part of years ago. I saw leaders from all backgrounds, all walks of life, all industries, such as doctors, lawyers, even bus operators, who were making a lot of money, okay? But they were introduced to this free enterprise industry. And when I saw how they had their freedom, which is the number one important thing in our life, our freedom, our time freedom, what made me make a decision that I needed to change is that I allowed myself, number one, to be open to opportunity. Mm-hmm. I got invited to come out and see something. Mm-hmm. And, at that time, my development stage hadn't really kicked in. I mean, I saw Bentleys, I saw BMWs outside, so the materialistic mindset was still there. But as I continued to come out and listen and learn, I understood that there was another way to generate an income. I didn't know that you can make money while you sleep. I didn't know these things. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. I said, well, how can you do that? Well, they said, just ask your boss, the person who you're working for. And at that time, I was actually working for a woman, a Hispanic woman who had 100 buses. And I was up and down the road. And she told me her story, how she started from a van to 100 buses, coming from Peru. But I was tired, up and down the road from New York. But what I did was I leveraged that opportunity because as a bus operator, I had downtime and I had a laptop. So I would study. I would go onto my laptop. I would have books with me. I would make announcements on the bus where I'm starting to learn to communicate with people. I knew communication and networking was so important to freedom. I had to face the fear. I would shake talking to people. So the journey began with me just accepting that change was imminent. It had to happen right now. I was tired of that bus. I made good money, $1,500 a week sometimes, but I was working for it. If I didn't work, I didn't get paid. So I had to make a decision, but it was that one day that God took the steering wheel. Because I was falling asleep with 61 people on that bus. Wow. I had to make a decision that I have to take this free enterprise serious. Because I was playing with it. It was a hobby at that time.
Yeah, sure.
I was dipping and dabbing. Even though I used the downtime to use the laptop, watch videos, read books, but I wasn't taking it serious. But that night that God took that steering wheel, I don't know how. I'm serious. I came back and I was pumping gas and I told one of the operators, this is it for me. It's time to change. It's time to step outside this box. and take this lifestyle of free enterprise serious.
So this was literally a matter of life and death for you.
Oh, absolutely.
So, that's a powerful, powerful story. And I think that, you were doing an honorable thing. You were working a job. You were,
Oh, yeah.
and the fact that you realized that, you know what, it wasn't just about you and you making your own income for yourself, that it required a certain responsibility for you to look over other folks as well, to
Yes, sir.
share the information.
Yes, sir.
And so you started reading certain things that took you in that direction to appreciate what folks that had the lifestyle you had were doing, and you decided to get involved, right? You decided to
Absolutely.
get involved even more so. So then as you were doing that, I guess it was always a step-by-step thing where you were going higher and higher in your acquisition of knowledge and understanding things. So what happened? What was the turnaround that made you to say, okay, you were already doing something in one industry or one area in free enterprise system, and then all of a sudden you got introduced to this economy, this ecosystem, this system, and understanding financial literacy on a different level? What was it that attracted you to this and then got you going in it?
That's a great question. One day, one of my past mentors brought the late Dr. Miles Monroe to actually coach and mentor us. I sat in the presence, took a picture with the late Dr. Miles Monroe. And I say late because this gentleman, who was a pastor, educator, sat down with presidents, kings, queens, 50 books, amazing family, built a legacy, his plane derailed. One of the representatives of this industry that we're part of, I like to call it the real money system, they interviewed him, and he stated, hold on to this asset, which is gold, and never let it go.
Ooh.
So I said, so how can I battle with a wealthy person, a man of his nature and stature? How can I battle what he's saying? So this information had got shared to me 4 years ago by a wonderful woman and leader by the name of Valerie Smith. And that day, I started to really study what the wealthy are doing. And as I have right here on my laptop, the 5 assets that wealthy people use to preserve wealth. So it's not just about now, it's about preservation. I know one day I'm going to have to stop working.
That's right.
I know one day my children, I'm a pass. That's nature. I have to return to God. That's nature. But what about my siblings? What about my children? So when I got to studying how the wealthy preserve and build wealth, I knew that this ecosystem, this wealth preservation information and opportunity that we're part of, which is called Karatbars International, was the best program on the planet. Why? Because out of the 5 assets that the wealthy people use to preserve wealth, which is exclusive real estate, not knocking a real estate agent, but we're talking about cash flow real estate, where the rich now are using debt. They're going into the banks borrowing money. The tenants are paying their loans back from because they're renting from them.
That's right.
Right? And then they're putting a portion of their cash flow into that asset, which is gold. Fine artwork, rare coins, and gold being number 4 in precious metals. So how can I argue what the wealthy are doing?
Right.
So when you understand money, this is what happens to you. You end up on panels and radio shows because understanding money takes your mindset to a next level. Your passion grows where it's not just about you, but I want to get this information out to others.
Right.
I know that I can't grow by myself. That's why the wealthy people develop networks and they create leverage for themselves, but they diversify not in one asset class. They diversify into assets that can take them into the future, which is preservation.
There's a point that I want to make sure that we bring or we repeat, that you say again. The wealthy create networks.
Yes, sir.
They create networks. And so we can spend a little time there, but you said it several times here, changing your associations also changes your environment, changes your mind, and changes ultimately your destination in life.
Yes, sir.
So I'm excited about everything that you're going to really get into. I know you brought some information that you want to share with the folks. And what I'd like to do is at this opportunity ask folks to feel free to call in now. if you're watching this show and you have a question or a comment that you'd like to share with Mr. Sanya, please don't hesitate to call in. The phone number again is 301-429-9247. We're going to definitely spend some time talking about that, about some of the stuff that he's going to share with us, and some stuff that's relevant to today's trending topics regarding news, politics, and the economy. So I'm gonna turn over the conversation to Brother Ahmed here.
Before we go to our commercial, what I want to do is to ask everyone. I think maybe Dr. Rozelle just encouraged everyone to like and to share this out. We want to get this information out to as many people as possible. We want to create a deluge of information and of people accessing that information. And as with every week, we try to bring guests on who have some benefit for the viewers, right? Benefit in building wealth, and not just building wealth, but how to create a lasting wealth, right, so that they can have a wealth transfer. We call that legacy wealth, right? Because everyone that you can name today, that if it's not nouveau or new wealth, you'll find that they inherited some wealth from their fathers or their families, right? And that family likely inherited from their families. And we can take the president of these United States as an example, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
His grandfather, and then his father, and he passed on wealth to him. And now, if you look at his children, right? Like him or love him, hate him or not, whatever, right? But we're talking about what he has managed to achieve. And if you look at his children, they are positioned. This is about creating a dynasty of wealth.
Right.
And that started with that first individual.
Right.
That first one who recognized that I need to be in a position to transfer wealth to my children. Right. Now, I've recognized that. In fact, my father recognized that. Only thing was, he didn't stick around long enough to communicate that idea to me. But as I got older, I realized what he was doing.
Yes, sir.
And then I was able to take the playbook and develop it so that I can do that for my family. And now my children, they understand
Right.
what we're trying to do.
Right.
And they understand that we're trying to position our family in a position that we can have generational wealth, pass it on to my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren, and beyond.
That's right.
And that's what you want, because I'll tell you that people who are, and we, like Demi said earlier, we don't have a problem. You got to have a job.
Right.
If you need a job.
Right.
But a job can be your key to establishing that wealth.
Absolutely.
Right.
People think, oh, I'm going to work 40 years and I'm going to retire.
Right.
And I'm going to live well. Well, how is that working out for you? Right? That's the question. We know so many people who have tried that method. And I could mention family members who I'm close to, of course. They're family members. Not talking about my neighbors, not talking about my best friend's family. I could go there too. But so many have worked, retired, only to find themselves in a situation 3, 5, 7 years after retiring.
Going back to work.
Yes.
Wow.
Going back to work.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's a common thing.
Because they have to, not because they want to.
Right.
Right? But because they have to.
Right.
And so one of the things that we hope that and pray that we can benefit the viewers with is that they can get the idea, they can put a plan in place. And if they don't, like, I'm not gonna. I think I'm getting there, right?
Yes,
I'm getting there a little late in life, but I think I'll get there, right?
Yes, sir.
Right? But my children, that next generation, I see them being able to implement that plan much earlier in life,
Right.
much earlier in life, and benefiting their children. Like I told my children, I said, look, my younger children, my youngest are 10, and then I have a 12 17-year-old here and a 16-year-old. I said, they should not have to work for anyone.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
right. They shouldn't
Right?
have to.
Absolutely.
They should not have to work for anyone.
Absolutely.
And we have a gentleman. We'll try to bring him on. He retired at 21. You say, how do you retire at 21? Right? Well, he didn't. Meaning retire. He didn't stop generating wealth.
Right.
Right?
Right.
He didn't stop. His income stream didn't stop.
Right.
He was able to take what he inherited and leverage it into a larger income to the point where he no longer had to work.
Wow.
And guess what? He tells the story of how he lost his first million. He lost the first million. And people say, well, how did you lose it? He said, but they're asking the wrong question. They should ask,
How did you get it back?
how did I get it back?
Exactly. You know,
right?
That's the funny thing because you know we there are folks that are watching us right now that think I'm okay.
Right.
I got a good job.
Right.
My retirement vehicle it holds a certain amount of money according to my financial planner, so I should be okay. Here's the thing that was posed to me a while back when I was in this industry. You know, from a professional standpoint, I was doing well, and I did well professionally for pretty much my entire career. However, someone came to me and said, "But can you will that to your offspring? Can you will your job to your offspring?
Right.
You can't."
No, sir.
And in addition to that, I mean, there are folks who will fight us tooth and nail that they're okay because they have their retirement plan set up. And we'll have a show about that at some point to talk about 401ks and all that. We'll bring some professionals in there to help people to really take a look, to peel back the layers and take a look at what's really going on with these instruments that are offered to you by banks that, anyway. I'm not going to go there, but
That's
the I was a personal banker. I just want to make sure I say that. So I have some credibility when it comes to that.
Right.
But they asked me the question, well, okay, you're doing okay, but what about other people? How can you help them? Hats off to the young man that inherited quite a bit of money and was able to leverage that and parlay that into an empire that allowed him to generate income, and then losing it and then starting all over again. That's the part that's impressive to me. Like you said,
That's right.
the gentleman that sits in the White House right now, same thing with him. He inherited that.
playbook. Right.
But what's really exciting for me are our business partners that are self-made. And I don't mean self-made in terms of that they did it all themselves, but first generation wealth creators. The Rockefellers of their family, the ones that changed and turned the legacy around. So how did they do it? What were they able to do? It was Dennis Kimbrough was a professor at my graduate school, and I went to him when I learned about this industry and asked him about it. I said, Dr. Kimbrough, what do you know about this particular company? And he says, oh, it's a good company. He said, you can get rich doing it, but you're going to work your bleep off.
Right.
And when he said that, I appreciated what he was saying. And for those of you who don't know, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, the author of Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. He's the one who picked up the mantle from the late, great Napoleon Hill, who wrote the classic Think and Grow Rich. He's the one that continued his next project. But Dr. Kimbrough is a sought-after speaker, New York Times best-selling author. He's amazing. But he shared that with me, and he said to me, listen, if you want to make a change, if you want to do something different to help people, he said, get involved in that industry.
Right.
And that's the industry we're in here. And this is Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, professor,
Right.
best-selling author. So for those of you out there who think you've made it, congratulations, you've done a great job at getting to where you are in life and all those things. We just suggest that you keep your eyes open.
Correct. It's a must.
That you pay attention and think beyond the here and now. Ask yourself the questions: can I will this to my offspring?
That's right.
The gentleman sitting in the White House right now, he's been able to give his children jobs, his in-laws jobs, and and he's able to do all kinds of things as a result of him following some principles. So that's something we wanted to make sure I just wanted to make sure I threw that in there because I know you're doing okay. I want to make sure you know this. I know you're doing okay. Right. This isn't just for that person that's struggling that can't get ahead. It's for you too.
That's right.
It's for you too.
Right.
We're going to go to a commercial now, viewers, and give you a chance again if you haven't like and share this out. Get some of your people on board to check us out. And we'll be right back.
All right. Great job, man. We need to thank our sponsors. Allow you to do that. Welcome back, everyone, to the GoldBricks Show. Make sure join the conversation. We're going to open the lines now. We're going to be taking a lot of calls today at 301-429-9247. So start making your calls now, and we're in for a treat because Mr. Sanya is a person that he's one of those folks that you can just kind of open the floodgates and let him do his thing. So he's going to share a lot of great content with you right now. So, and please, again, get involved in the conversation. The GoldBricksShow.com is the website, but you can also go give us a call at 301-429-9247. Mr. Sanya.
Well, before the intermission commercial break, we actually were talking about this isn't just for the person who's down and out. It's also for the person who's doing well, because we just want to make sure that, we want to share information to allow you to ask the right questions. One of the first signs of intelligence is to ask questions. Do you have that umbrella of protection over how, what you're doing well with? What plan B do you have on the side just in case? Are you understanding assets and liabilities? Are you understanding what you're working hard for, which is cash? Nothing wrong with it. It's not an asset. But do you have the right assets in place that will protect you and take you into the future? And what plan B do you have? So I just wanted to brief quickly before any calls come in the industry that we're really part of. And this industry is international, but it's an industry that's $22.1 trillion. One of my mentors says, don't stand on the sidelines where there's many getting the game. Don't stay on the sidelines where there's many getting the game where there's not many. So this e-commerce industry is an industry where anyone can be involved in. It won't interfere with what you're doing right now. But the system, the platform that we're using, which is the correct way to save money, this industry, ladies and gentlemen, with Amazon, eBay, some of the giants that we represent as consumers, here's a way that we can have a plan B on the side that will allow us, not just to generate income, which is important, but to be part of an industry that's positioned with the #1 asset class in the world, once again, which is gold money. And I'm not sure how deep we're going to get into the program that we're part of. In my opinion, my honest opinion, the best opportunity on the planet.
Right.
Because see, this industry wasn't always available for the 99%. The 99% weren't always able to obtain gold. We look at gold as some type of joke. Even though the stores say bring your gold for cash, it's a reason why they're saying bring gold for cash. It's not to resell it, but like I stated earlier, it's to put it away for a sunny day. It's to put it away because of this wealth transfer that's happening. And even if the wealth transfer didn't take place, you're still holding on to an asset that's very important, that's accepted around the world. So I wanted to just share this with the person who's doing well. Understand that if you have a financial advisor that's just keeping you in a basket of mutual funds, that's still tied to a asset that has lost at least 98% of its power.
Right.
Purchasing power. That you want to learn about the other side. See, we're on one side, but we really don't understand that side.
Could you explain that for just a second for our viewers? Because when they hear there's lost 99% of its purchasing power, give our viewers a little bit of an example of what that means, what that looks like, please.
Well,
also, hey guys, remember this is live. So we are on Facebook as well, so you can actually type your comments in here, and we'll be answering them. We're not being rude. We're making sure that we're interacting with our live community. So go right ahead, sir.
Well, when you say purchasing power, we were to just go back. Let's say 1930. 1930 is always a good example. If I was to buy an ounce of gold in 1930, an ounce of gold will cost me in 1930 about $30-some. But if we were to fast forward today, that same ounce of gold from 1930, and if the track record of how gold has just been going up and up with mobility is based on the value and the purchasing power that the dollar has lost. So to get an ounce of gold today will cost you close to $1,300, but it's the same ounce of gold that you purchased in 1930. It hasn't lost its value.
But the cash has lost its value.
But the cash has lost its value. So this is why wealthy people don't save cash. They work hard for assets. Okay, they work hard for assets. So they want cash flow. Nothing wrong with paper money. But if you're saving it, there's something wrong with it. You have to put a portion of that into something that's real and something that's going to preserve your wealth, just like Brother Yasin was teaching us about understanding the importance of preservation. How will I pass this on to my children's children? Correct. That information right there, I can't pass the dollar on like that. And every what you call fiat currency that has been created in history has gone to zero. If we were to study all of them, the dollar has been the longest standing currency with a 100-year track record. Right. So once again, nothing wrong with cash, but we just need to understand what to do with it. And the industry that we're part of teaches us to save money, but to go out and help other people do the same money. And we're compensated, not selling gold, but actually saving gold and sharing with others to do the same thing, and we're compensated for doing it.
And how are we compensated? Are we just in cash, just in gold? There's a thing called cryptocurrency? How are we compensated?
Oh, wow. You just opening up the door.
I have to. Hey, we got to give the people what they want.
The people, he mentioned something that's important. Well, we're compensated in cash and gold. Just imagine being paid in real money. But then he mentioned cryptocurrency. A lot are not conscious of cryptocurrency, but these are the changes in the monetary system. Mm-hmm. We're all in the monetary system, the future, but most are just on one side. So here's something that's come about, I think, over a decade ago, that's correct? Right. Cryptocurrency. And this is part of the changes. Bitcoin started at 0 and went to 20,000. Now it's down to 6,000 and some change. But where has the dollar gone? You see what I mean? So once again, nothing wrong, but learn how to transition a portion of your paper into something that will protect you and go into the. So we're also part of that industry. But the great thing of being part of the crypto space is that we have what you call the gold standard. We have our own gold standard where our cryptocurrency and our paper money is backed by something that's real, which is gold.
You said gold standard. Right. So these some terms that we're used to throwing around.
I'm sorry.
Right. No apology necessary. Right. But that is just point out. Please share with the folks what the gold standard is, so that they can understand what it was, what it is, and today, and how we're able to get this back to the people, and what the impact of that is.
Absolutely. There's something called a snowball effect. Once upon a time, our president Richard Nixon took gold away from the dollar. It's called the gold standard. Okay, and this was supposed to be a temporary fix, but when I say the snowball effect, we've come to that point now by that taking gold away from the dollar. Now the dollar has lost so much of its power based on war, based on something called quantitative easing, which means the printing of money. This right here weakens the currency. So once upon a time, for our listeners who are not conscious of this, if you were to go on Google, or I like to use Bing now. Bing is a little bit more straightforward.
Free plug.
And I heard a rich person state this. So why not listen to what the wealthy are talking about? Because I listen to them constantly. But go to Bing or go to Google and just look how the dollar once upon a time used to look. It was a gold certificate because every currency that was printed had a certain amount of gold that backed it. And this is when the dollar used to back all other currencies around the world. So we won't go too deep into that, but we want you to understand that gold is money. Gold has always been money, but gold, the conversation of gold was taken out of the school curriculum back in the 70s because they wanted to keep us blind to this. Gold, once upon a time, was illegal. So these are things we need to know. Why was gold illegal? There was a gold run where you had to turn your gold in, and this was during the time of FDR, our 32nd president.
That's right.
So this is information that we need to know. So if you understand the past, you have a better outlook on the future, and that snowball effect has come to the point right now where gold is so important, ladies and gentlemen. But it's a great thing.
Mr. Sanya, so what was happening to all the gold that was taken from the citizens? Who started to collect all the gold, Mr. Sanya?
Well, then
These are just facts. These are just facts.
The ones who were informed,
Like
the bankers,
the governments, the countries, and the uber wealthy. So understand something. Always take issue with what people tell you to do that they're not doing.
Yes, sir.
So I just had to make sure that people caught that.
Yeah, you're right.
That this isn't a situation where we're just throwing out terms. This is real life. This is what's actually happening.
Yes, sir.
And so now we're going to fast forward to today. Now you mentioned that we have our own gold standard.
Correct.
So I wanted to just help him get back to that point so we can go through it.
Absolutely. Well, our gold standard is based off an amazing company, once again, that has changed my life in this free enterprise. In the e-commerce industry, internationally, I'm able to share with someone a very simple video that educates people on the importance of holding on to gold. So how do I have my old gold standard? See, the number one economy is the economy at home. No matter what's going on around the world, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you have the opportunity to become wealthy and protect yourself in these times and prosper. So what do? We have our own banking account.
Right.
Okay? We didn't have to walk into an institution, not to knock the banks, but once again, it's not intelligent to park paper money into an institution that you're not even gaining anything for.
Wow.
So we have our own bank right on our smartphone, right on our laptop, where we're able to exchange. Because gold is not a purchase. We're not purchasing jewelry. We're actually exchanging cash for gold money, physical gold money, right in our bank. So we have our own gold standard where we're protecting our wealth, we're protecting our future, we're protecting our family's future, and we're helping others do the same thing, but we're exchanging 1 gram, 2.5 or 5 grams at a time, whatever you choose. But as you become wiser, you're going to know that it's important to get as much gold as you can.
That's right.
Because the central banks are doing it. So who's the central banks? Well, we got to understand these countries. I just had a stream earlier about this. Russia, China, these countries are stocking up on gold. So why wouldn't we do what the central bankers are doing? And Karatbars International allows the average person, or even the person who has $1 million sitting on a computer, to get educated and start to exchange cash for gold. Don't put all your cash in it, right? But for a person who says, well, gold just sits there, well, here's an opportunity to have a plan B that will teach you how to communicate with people, that will teach you how to network, that will teach you how to step outside the comfort zone. Because in order to be comfortable, you have to get more uncomfortable. So here's an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to benefit from a system that has been developed by an amazing gentleman who I see has actually gotten on live with us, Mr. Harold Seitz from Stuttgart, Germany, who's developed a system from everywhere in the world.
Senator Seitz, hello, we salute you, sir. Thank you for everything that you've done. We appreciate you being on our live stream right now.
Thank you very much. What I want to say, one of the other things, some people will say, well, I don't have the money, right? And so what's happened here, all excuses have been removed, right?
That's correct.
Because it's free to join. You can buy or exchange your fiat currency for as little as in $5 increments approximately.
Correct.
For 1/10 of a gram of gold.
Correct.
If you can't save a gram, you can save 1/10 of a gram.
Yes, sir.
For as little as what? About $5.
That's it.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And so the thing is that that's a cup of certain type of coffee.
Yeah. With all due respect, right?
A cup of, and so changing habits. And one of the things you mentioned earlier, you said it's changed my life. And I think it's changed everyone's life who's really involved with it.
Correct.
Because it's changed our habits of spending and saving.
That's right.
So instead of, how do we save? We're saving in assets. We're not saving in a depreciating liability.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
We're getting physical possession if we choose to do so.
Correct.
Or they'll store it for you. So there's so many ways that this thing has changed our lives, and that it remove all excuses. So no one can say, well, I don't have the money, right? And that sort of thing. So we have a call. I'm going to take this caller right now.
Line one.
Line one. Thank you for calling. You have a comment or question?
But we have a question. I'm going to take this caller right now.
Line one.
Line one. I don't thank you for calling. You have a comment or question?
We're having a little technical
I
difficulties
have a
here.
question. I'm going to take this caller right now. Line one. Line one.
We're going to put you on hold just a second just a second.
The engineers will take care of that.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to you, caller. Thanks
Yeah,
for calling.
please try again, caller. We had some technical difficulties with that call. But go ahead and address that, how Karatbars International and its sister companies have created an ecosystem which, as it develops, as it matures, it will allow us to be in a system that we actually never have to leave. Right?
That's right.
Once you get in it.
That's right.
But now is the time to position yourself.
Position
right?
yourself. Yes,
and
sir.
as I said, someone said, well, I don't have the money. Well, some people tell me that, and cable's blasting, right? All right? So downgrade. If you don't get rid of it, okay, downgrade your package a little bit, right?
Right.
So give us a little bit on that.
You know, and I want to come a little easy. You know, ladies and gentlemen,
Just a second. Let me see if we got
You want to take our caller?
We're going to try to call again.
I want to come a little easy. You know, ladies and gentlemen,
Hey, caller, you can mute your sound there.
I did.
Okay, yeah.
There we go.
You have a comment or question?
Yes. My question is, when you save the gold, what do you do with the gold? Like if you save it for 5 years, what do you do with it then?
Okay.
That's
All
a
right,
great
caller,
question.
where are you calling from?
You save the gold, what do you do with the gold? Like if you save it for 5 years, what do you do with it then?
All right, hold it just a second. We're gonna let Demi address that.
Oh, anyway.
But that's a great question, sir, and I want to thank you for your time of bringing that question to us. Gold is for savings, like you said. What do you do with it? Once again, I kind of wanted to keep things simple, but for example, we look at what's happened in Zimbabwe and we look at what happened in Venezuela, and people say, well, these things won't come to America. If the individuals there, because their currency went into hyperinflation, if they had been holding on to gold or had this knowledge to hold on to gold, they would have been protected. The next thing that they would have had to protect was their body and themselves, because they would have been the ones that would have been okay with their groceries and to be able to get services. So gold is a protector. Gold is what you use to hedge against inflation, taxation, and the devaluation of currency. So you just hold gold for that sunny day to protect yourself and your family. Once again, as we begin, it's the umbrella of over all financial. So gold is to be used just for preservation and to protect yourself, just in case the currency that you work for goes to zero. And as we spoke, the dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power, sir. So that's the importance of gold. But for those, once again, with our program, there's other opportunities and other instruments that we have with Karatbars International that allows you to generate cash flow, which is also important as well. So, sir, I hope I answered that question, but gold is your protector. You're supposed to hold it and put it away for a sunny day.
And the example of that would be, if you look at any bank, any central bank, if you look at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York City, you'll see that they store their gold. They have big old vaults. You've seen this throughout your entire life. When you've looked at stories of very wealthy people, when you look at folks that are, when you look at the wealthy folks, you have people who are sitting there who they put their money in these vaults, in these banks, and they do it in gold. Everything we do, you say, is good as gold.
Right.
Well, we could go all these sayings that always refer to gold being a good thing to have.
Correct.
And so that's what you do with the gold. There was a young lady who said to me once, I think I shared this before on the show, she's like, well, Dr. Rozelle, well, what do I do if I have a garage full of gold? I said, well, you're rich.
Right.
That's a good problem to have.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
but there are all kinds of things that you can do with, but you store it, you hold it. It's an asset
Correct.
that you hold to save. Robert Kiyosaki, a gentleman that a lot of folks have a lot of respect for, and I'm not going to plug him, but he's a best-selling author as well.
Correct. Rich Dad,
But
Poor Dad.
he makes it very clear that right now he's taking all of his real estate even,
Right.
and he's getting rid of it and getting more and more gold.
Wow.
So understand that there, even if you don't understand everything about it, know that it works. You know,
Correct.
you get in your car every day, and you drive your car, and you may or may not know everything there is to know about how that car runs.
Right.
But you know that it works. So look around you. This isn't something that we're saying. You can do your research on
Right.
billionaires that hold gold
Correct.
and why they get gold. And once you do that, you can go to different search engines, Google, and Mr. Sonia here just recommended Bing.
Right.
You can do that, but and you'll find all the reasons why you should hold gold. You can even research on what to do with your gold. So
Correct.
One of the things is that was mentioned, or referenced, is that we're all over the world. We're in over 125 countries at
Yes,
this
sir.
point. And additionally, the opportunity exists, as you intimated,
excuse me.
to create a residual income stream.
Very
An
important.
income stream that you can, as you said earlier, make money while you sleep.
Very
right?
important, yes.
And that's an important thing. So, and guess what? Not only can you do that, but this is bequeathable. My wife is my beneficiary on
That's
my
right.
account. And as Dr. Rozelle said earlier, like, for instance, I make decent money, but if something happens to me, my wife cannot go sit at my desk and make that salary. But in this case, if something happens to me, that flow keeps coming.
Yes,
that
right.
residual income flow, and not only does it keep coming, it keeps growing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And keeping gold, and gold is money. There's no doubt about that, and no one should deny that. No one should be confused about it.
Right.
Going back to a point you made earlier, if you don't mind, and that is that there was a time when gold was money right here in the United States. And all over the world, it's been money, right?
Correct.
But here, we're speaking specifically here, there was a time before Roosevelt made it illegal and started the process of removing the United States from
Correct.
the gold
Off the standard.
from the
Right.
gold standard,
Yes.
and made it a penalty if you didn't turn your gold in, and made it illegal to own gold.
Correct.
Now again, there was a loophole always for the certain class of people.
That's right.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
They
Right.
had certain ways they could continue to hold gold, but for the 99%, let's
Correct.
refer to them
The
as,
masses.
we did not have the ability.
Right.
It was illegal for us to have it.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And so there are a lot of stories we can tell on that. But what we will do is that I think next week we have a guest coming in.
I'd like to share, I'd absolutely like to share that, of course, we have a tremendous gentleman with us here today, Mr. Demi Sanya. I mean, can't thank you enough again, sir, for being here with us. And next week, we have the pleasure of having a gentleman all the way from South Africa,
Wow.
a gentleman whose story has resonated throughout our company,
Yes, that's
who
right.
started off in very, very humble beginnings,
Wow.
and now is living his best life, has made a lot, has become a very successful, wealthy person in a very short time out of South Africa. He's helping tens of thousands of folks just on his team alone from all over the world, who is going to be joining us next week, and that's none other than Mr. Isaac. I need to make sure I say his last name the correct way.
Matthias.
Matthias.
Oh, wow.
Brother Isaac Matthias
Oh, wow.
will be with us next week on the show.
Yes, it's a blessing.
There's going to be an exciting show. We want to give some thumbs up for that, because this gentleman is somebody that has a heart of gold, loves helping people, and it's great that he's going to be on there. But I would like to say to anybody that's watching us right now to please take a moment and give us some likes, give us some thumbs up and some loves
Some
for Mr.
shares.
Demi Sanya, because we really appreciate him coming and taking
Yes,
time out of his
appreciate the
very busy
opportunity.
schedule.
That's right.
He's had a lot of success. He's an entrepreneur. He no longer works for anyone else
No, sir.
but himself.
It's a blessing. Yes,
He's
sir.
and he's someone that you can
Work for the
always
people.
count on. He works with the people.
Yeah.
And that he's truly a servant leader. And so we always want to give you guys the best. We're going to have the best, and I appreciate those likes. I
Can we
appreciate
give
those
Mr.
likes.
Harold, excuse me. Can we give Mr. Harold Sites
And one
honor
more
for
thing.
making a comment on our stream?
Please, also, if everyone could, would you please, again, also like Mr. Senator Harold Sites for making a comment on our show today. We really appreciate you, sir. You've changed all of our lives.
Yes, sir.
And over
Absolutely.
600,000 folks' lives worldwide. In this system, we know the big plan is to help the entire world.
That's right.
And
That's right.
and we know that we're going to do it 1 gram at a time.
That's right.
So,
Absolutely.
Mr. Senator Harold Sykes, again, we salute you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
We
you
thank
very
you
much,
for
sir.
that, for your vision, and for putting together the system and staying in the. You know, another thing I want to say about this gentleman. This man is world renowned in the industry. He's been appointed senator of the German Federal Economic Development and Trade Agency. I hope I didn't mess up the whole department, but that just, you know, he's important, guys. And this gentleman is very successful in his own right. But you know what? I've been in this industry since the 90s, and even co-founded a company that did very well. And I've never had the opportunity to work with an individual or leader, a CEO, that truly, every time he
Yeah.
makes a change,
That's right.
it's for the betterment of the field.
Yes.
Wow.
We're doing something right now. He's done something and put something in place where Karatbars, the main company we got started with, is only taking 1% of profit to the bank. The bank, the Karat Bank. The rest of it's going to the field.
Wow.
No other company,
Be part of that, ladies and gentlemen.
no other company has
Right.
ever done anything so revolutionary. So when you hear us saluting this man, understand it's because for good reason. He's shown who he is. He's a true
right.
servant leader.
That's true.
And I just wanted to again salute you, sir, for being on here today. We
Thank
really
you, sir.
appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
And do we have another commercial to show before as we roll out?
Yeah, and let's show a commercial that really it tells about we have about a minute and a half commercial.
Okay.
That really kind of explains a little bit more about Karatbars International and what we're about, and we're going to share that on the way out, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, same time, same place. Don't forget, like it, share it out, and let's increase the eyes on. Thank you very much, everyone.
Absolutely. And one more thing, success is voluntary.
That's right.
And you deserve it.
That's right.
Keep soaring, everyone. Don't forget, the GoldBricksShow.com. Thanks so much. Again, Mr. Sanya, appreciate you, sir.
Thank you,
Human
sir.
fascination with gold is as old
you.
as
Thank you,
recorded
sir.
history. The status of gold was stable. Those who held gold also tended to hold power. 1792, the United States Congress passed the Mint and Coinage Act that established a fixed price of gold in terms of U.S. dollars. August 1971, a number of attempts were made to salvage the gold standard. February 2018, foundation of the Karat Gold coin, one of the most successful ICOs of all time. Each Karat Gold coin represents a certain weight of gold and can at all times be exchanged into physical gold in the form of cash gold. It is based on the Ethereum blockchain protocol. Therefore, it is safe, cost-efficient, and fast. The payment can also be done through KBC Pay System.